Alright, what's going on guys, it's Res. In this video I want to go over the Roisen's Thorn. If you don't know, this is a series I do on my channel where I take new, old, and recently buffed items and put them up against today's current meta to see how they perform. If you enjoy, find this video helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, it really helps me out and I truly appreciate it. But if you don't know, the Roisen's Thorn is a legendary pistol manufactured by Thorns, and the red text for this weapon says, "Where there is pleasure, there is pain." Now if you want to farm this, you're going to head over to the Splinterlands and you're going to be farming Princess Tarantella 2. That is the enemy who drops it. So the legendary effect of this weapon that it is always going to be corrosive, but it actually shoots out 4 additional incendiary projectiles. So essentially you're getting 2 elements on one weapon. Now when this gun first came out, this was actually a pretty decent weapon and it was one of my favorites. It was also one of my first legendaries I actually have received. Back then when there wasn't any annoyance to have more elemental damage on the active skeleton, this was a weapon that lets you get 5 elements on one weapon. I actually remember way back I made a video on this because it was a super fun playstyle and I loved messing around with this thing. But now obviously as time went on, you can pretty much get all 5 elements on any weapon in the game on almost any character, especially on Amara. But in my opinion, that's what made this thing super cool back in the day and what made it actually pretty good. But as time went on, just like as all other legendaries in this game, they started to fall off as mayhem levels kept increasing. But Gearbox did recently buff this and they gave it a 53% increase in damage. But honestly, this buff seems to be weird, whereas some sources are saying 53 and others are saying 100. Either way, I can go on and say this buff actually made this gun a lot better. As you see in the gameplay, you can just tear through mobs if you're hitting your shots, especially on lower tier things like Athena's. You just have to be careful and shoot accurately because the gun does have travel time, but it also does have splash damage. So generally just shooting around an area, you'll be able to kill these enemies. Plus you are doing 2 elements at once. And like I was saying earlier, now in the game with the many annoyances that we have, you can get all 5 elements on this thing and you'll be able to tear through any mob even if they resist a certain element. Now, just like all Tor weapons, this does have a sticky mode, but I honestly recommend not using the sticky mode because from what I can tell, the sticky mode just doesn't do as much damage as what the impact mode can do. And impact mode is going to cause that huge splash damage to be able to kill a lot of enemies. So it's good for mobbing, but how is it against bossing? And as you can see against Captain Tron, it's not doing the greatest. This is definitely more of a mobbing weapon than it is bossing, but maybe on characters like Moze, it could work a little bit better with all the splash damage skills that she has. And in my opinion, this gun is going to work the best on Moze in any scenario due to all those splash damage bonuses and the ability to never have to reload the gun. And this also will work on every single Vault Hunter and even maybe on a character like Amara, buffing the elemental damage of this, plus having something like Heavy Rain to have that more projectile speed. Now if we take this over to something like the Guardian Takedown to put it up to a true test, as you can see, honestly, just the gun itself, not really using any axe skills. I'm sure if we would throw axe skills in, focus more on the build that we're using, it would perform a lot better. But just the gun itself is not doing too bad. Obviously, yes, there are guns in the game that are going to do better than this, but being a base game item with a smaller buff that they gave it, as you can see, this thing is actually performing better than what you probably originally think. So overall, I would say that the Roisen's Thorn is a very nice pistol. I would definitely recommend trying to farm for one. I don't think it's gonna be the next top tier weapon in the game, but if you enjoy using pistols and you want to try something new out, this is 100% a viable one you can go for now. I would rate this a 7 out of 10 because not only does the gun look cool, it has a cool legendary effect, it performs very well, and the only thing is that some other guns are just better than this for things like the Guardian Takedown, but it can get the job done, so that's why I'm going to give it a 7. Heck, I might even bump it up to an 8 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to do all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.